Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. Guys, today I'm going to explain you a question, okay, which includes the modulus function, right? And then we have to find the domain of such function, okay? So the question is find the domain of fx is equal to 1 divided by square root mod of x minus x. And you have to know what is the domain of this function, right? Okay. So what is the domain of this function? Okay guys, as you can see, this function has a rational function, right? This is a rational function because a function which is written up and down, right? And it also has two things. One is a square root function. Second one, it is a absolute function. Okay. So guys, I'm going to tell you one thing. Remember, if you have anything as a rational function, for example, y is equal to mod of x. Okay. You know, whenever you have any rational function, you must know that the denominator cannot be a 0 here, right? Means the domain of this one must be what? 0 or greater than 0. Sorry, not equal to 0 even, right? The x must be what? Greater than 0. Because if this is 0, 1 over 0 does not exist. And even you can say x less than 0, no problem. For greater than 0, less than 0, it always exists. It will not exist when x is equal to what? 0. Then it is what? Does not exist. This one I told you in my previous lecture. So what is the domain here? Domain belongs to real number except what? 0. This is very important in a rational function. Okay, so whenever you have any question of the rational function, you must know about this one, right? That the denominator, whatever the denominator, for example here, what we have? We have a square root mod of x minus x. This is number one, right? And number two, if you have a square root function, right? Whenever you have a square root function, this x, you can take 0 or greater than 0, then this function exists, right? Means here, you can take positive value, negative value, but it is not equal to 0. Means for all values of x except 0, but here, this is defined when you have what? 0 or greater than 0. This is the domain of what? Square root function, and this is the domain of what? Rational functions. Now this function has both the square root function as well as it is a rational function. Okay guys, I'm going to solve this question first. You know, here the denominator, you can see we have denominator, right? Mod of x. See, mod of x minus x, right? Just try to understand that. If mod of x minus x, if for example, if this is 0, what will happen? What will be the reflection? If mod of x minus x, for example, if this is 0, so what will happen? 1 divided by what? 0, so the answer is 0. Does not exist. So this condition is fail, right? Don't use this condition, right? And if you say mod of x minus x is less than 0, and mod of x minus x is less than 0 means what? This function mod of x minus x has the negative value. For example, I can say 1 divided by square root minus 2. This also does not exist. So when this one exists, when mod of x minus x is what? Only greater than 0. This is the condition, sir. Means if this is what? If this is 0, this function does not exist. And about a square root function, now if I give negative value of x, this does not exist. So only there is a one condition when mod of x minus x is what greater than 0. So when this value is what positive, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because we know under root 1, under root 2, under root 3, under root 4, under root 5, all positive values of x plus. But if this is 0 or less than 0, the function does not exist. So if you want to find out the domain of such functions, you have to make this condition. Mod of x minus x must be greater than 0, right? This is 0. Okay. Now as you see, we have mod of x, right? And I told you in my previous lecture, mod of x whenever you see mod of x, right, it has always two functions. Remember, I told you this one in my previous lecture, right? X or minus x. This one when you have what? 0 or greater than 0, right? And this one when x is less than 0. So mod of x is equal to x, or mod of x is equal to what? Minus x. So this is equal to x when x is what? 0 or greater than 0. When x is what? Less than 0. This is equal to minus x. So now I'm going to draw a number line right here. See, we will solve this question by graph. For example, I am here, right? Or I am going from this direction, in the positive direction of x. Means here I am taking what? 0 or greater than 0. So if I am here, okay, can you tell me mod of x is equal to what? This one or this one? If we are going to take the value of x is 0 or greater than 0, we will take this one is equal to x or minus x. We will take this is equal to x. Why? Because x is 0 or greater than 0. So in place of mod of x, I'll write what? X for this condition, right? For this part. So x minus x, this is 0. So 0 is greater than 0. This is false, right? This is what? False. This condition is false. Because we cannot draw it, right? There is no graph on this part because this is false. Okay. Now if we talk about, we are going in this direction, right? Here, in the negative direction of x, where x is less than 0. So when x is less than 0, we will say that this is equal to what? Minus x, right? You can see here. I'm going to solve the question here. Okay. So mod of x is equal to minus x when x is less than 0, and here is x less than 0. So in place of mod of x, this one, mod of x, I am going to write down minus x. Why? Because x is less than 0. When x is less than 0, we will say this is equal to this one, minus x. And this is what? Minus x. And this is what? Greater than 0, right? Now you can solve this inequality. Minus x minus 2x greater than 0. Now listen, this is very important here. Divided by minus 2. Divided by minus 2 on both sides. When in inequality, whenever you are going to divide by minus sign, the sign of inequality change. If this is what? Greater than, it becomes what? Less than. When you are going to divide by minus sign. Okay. So I have divided here by minus 2 on both sides. So I'm going to change the inequality, and then we will have this minus 2 cancel. This is x and this is what? 0. It means this is what? So this condition means x cancel. Okay. So x is what? Less than 0. So x is less than 0. Then we can say, what is the domain now? X is less than 0 means from minus infinity to 0. Right? So this will be our domain. So the domain is minus infinity to 0. So when you take minus infinity to 0 any number, this function exists. Okay. And if you give any other value out of this interval, out of this domain, the function never exists. I can give you one example. If you say, sir, from minus infinity to 0, I'm going to give minus 2 here. So for minus 2, it will exist. Why? I'm going to tell you here. You can check here. This is what? 1. And this is mod of x. So I'm going to write down minus 2. And this is what? X is what? Minus 2. So this is minus, and x is what? Minus 2, right? So minus 2 is always mod is always positive, right? 2. and minus minus plus 2, so you can say 1 by 4, which is 1 over 2. It exists, right? Plus minus, so you can say plus minus 2, doesn't matter, right? But if you take, look here, if you take minus 2, the function exists, right? And now if you are going to take any value here, means outside of this domain, this function never exists. I will show you how. Okay, see, if you take 2, for example, for this function 2, so this was your function, this is 2, and this is what? Minus 2. X is 2, right? So you can say this is what? Mod of 2 is 2, 2 minus 2, so this is what? 0, 0 means 0, and this does not exist. So 1 over 0 does not exist, right? Does not exist. So always remember these things. So whenever you have a function fx is equal to 1 divided by under root mod of x minus x, the domain is from minus infinity to 0. So this is your answer. Guys, I hope you understand, and even if you have a problem in this explanation, you can just mention the comment. Then whenever we have a time, I will reply you soon. Okay, take care. Bye bye. Assalamu alaikum.